Here we are for episode 32 on the hottest day of the year.
Brilliant. Great timing,
Unofficially.
Ethan.
Unofficially. You look like you've just had a swim, Kempo, to be honest.
I came back from having a day in the office. I'm sure people will relate. And I was rather warm, so my head has been in the sink while I prepared for
Oh,
this
your head.
podcast.
You actually have intentionally. Well, I thought that was just your hair from
No, no,
what.
no, 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 no. I literally just I literally had my head under the tap for a while.
Yeah, I mean,
And hay fever sufferers will understand as well.
what did you say it was, Jordan? 27 degrees, which is
7 degrees.
pretty good. Although I'm not, it's not so bad as those down south here experiencing 35 degrees today, I think, in some places.
Yeah.
So that's not good. And yeah, was working from my office slash room, and yeah, it was just absolutely boiling today. And I went to the office as well for a while, and that was just not fun, not a fun experience. But sure, we've been playing plenty of golf anyway in the good weather, haven't we? So
Mm-hmm.
maybe we'll catch up on that at some stage. Some wins and qualifications all around, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we should probably report you've not heard our Swiss colleague speak because he's on a train in Paris at the moment, or France. Did he say Paris?
No, I think he just said France. Oh, no, he actually didn't even say that. He said he's on a train full of French. You've
Yeah.
just concluded he's in France. Could be anywhere.
Well, I'm getting mixed up because his clubs didn't arrive in Paris, I think.
He's very good at that.
He's very good at that.
Viciously good at that.
Mm.
Is this quite a common thing, or does it just happen to Rob a lot?
Yeah, I think it's a Rob thing.
I think
Yeah.
this is the third time since we've started this podcast that his clubs haven't arrived somewhere. And
The most unluckiest man.
if golf isn't stressful enough, you'd really need your clubs.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you
That's
do.
rule number one, bring your clubs to the golf course. So I don't know if he'll be borrowing the pros or if I actually don't know if they've arrived or not. He just said he might join from the train and we said, don't worry about it. We've got bigger fish to fry. So he might pop, sometimes you never know. He might just pop up for like 5 minutes and then be midway through a point and then go through a tunnel and then he cuts off again. But yeah, before we get into our own golf, obviously the US Open happened. We missed a predictions episode because we were flat out with golf last week, all of us.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Fortunately slash unfortunately, and we usually record on a Monday or Tuesday, and they were out for both of us. But obviously, yeah, Wyndham Clark won over the weekend, so
Really popular winner.
really popular, and we'll talk about that. But how much of it did you see?
Uh, I saw a bit of it, to be fair. I was
Saw quite a
watching
bit
it.
of the weekend.
Yeah, watched a load of Saturday and a load of Sunday.
So was it effectively had like a 72-hour lead or something?
He led the whole way
Led the whole
from
way.
It's not
start.
72 hours, it's 72 holes even.
Well, someone said 72 hours, and I've just repeated that. But yeah, it was from
Someone
yeah
said,
from Thursday evening. He's been holding the lead and still manages to win despite shooting 73 the last day, which made it interesting the first half of the day. I think we were expecting Scotty to make a bit of a charge that didn't really happen.
yeah,
He came back to the field and we thought that was kind of when someone falters like that, it's really usually they don't stay there, but he turned it around. Fair play to him.
Yeah, and
yeah,
there's been some comments coming out about the fan behaviour, of course. But you could hear some of it on TV when a ball would roll off the green, which just happened in every hole because the course
Right.
was ridiculously set up. But the ball would roll
Yeah.
off the green and it was almost like a Ryder Cup. But I can't remember who it was that said it. Was it Brandon Chambly? Is that his name?
Hmm.
Who
Yeah,
said
no.
that he's seen this in Ryder Cups, obviously Bethpage Black, but he's never seen it for a fellow American
Yeah.
that had
yeah.
paired against him. So should maybe clear up, Jordan, why maybe some people don't know why he was so unpopular. Maybe we should just revisit that.
Because he smashed up a locker room at last year's US Open
Hmm.
at Oakmont, and everyone now dislikes him, even though there was one of the Netflix full swing episodes about him where he's actually quite good and talks about through his struggles and stuff. But the fans don't care, and they were just I didn't really agree with it. I don't know many people that want him to win, but I don't think you should cheer for bad shots just because you don't
No.
want someone to win. You know, you'd rather
Yeah.
someone win it than someone lose it, right?
100%. I think that's not really golf, is it? I think there was a shot on the back nine where he hit a shot to the middle of the green, and it kind of Karen going rolled down a slope, and everyone was screaming, "Get in the bunker, get off the green" and stuff. And you're like, well, it is a shame because there's a guy trying to win a golf tournament here. I know that he's not the most popular, and he has done wrong, and you can't forgive him for it. But he was trying to win a golf tournament, and I don't think that's what you'd see in the UK in the Open. So, but it's just New York fans, and I think that's the point that everyone was saying. It's maybe we should think about having an event there next. They get a bit rowdy. So
I think they said it wasn't even necessarily New York fans, it's Long Island fans. I think they've
yeah,
had events at other parts of New York, not any issues. I don't think we're the best to comment on it. I don't think I've not been to Long Island, so can't really say. But I know there's the stereotypes about them being a bit posh and being silver spoon, as you'd be told over here. And that's they just feel like they can get away with everything. And do you kind of feel like golf in the past couple of years is it's almost turned into other sports? Like you have that etiquette of golf where people being quiet. Then you had Liv, who were kind of encouraged you still be respectful, but make noise in the golf course. And now it's just
yeah.
getting rowdier, rowdier. What do you think? Why do you think that is?
Strength again. I think it's so bad. I just don't want it. People just love it, and I just hate it. Strength again.
No, I agree. I don't think you should have. I think golf does need villains, but it's difficult because you can't then Wyndham is classed as a villain, but on the golf course he can't be a villain. He's just got to get the job done. But I feel, yeah, I think that was just a typical. That was a proper trust fund. A lot of trust fund kids with a lot of beer and wanted something to do.
Yeah. Do you think it is? Do you think it's a coincidence? Because we know, like, I have a lot of friends who played football or rugby and now have taken golf up since COVID, and that kind of culture is seeping into golf now because you see it quite a different demographic, especially around our age. Like I was going to say late 20s, mid to late 20s if you're Jordan. Rob, good thing Rob's not on here.
Yeah, early
Rob is counting down the days in his 20s. But I think it is like that, just that culture from football, whatever, has just came over. And you, instead of when we were younger being at clubs and being getting told off by older members saying, you can't do that, son, or take your hat off, or you can't wear that in the golf course. There's just kind of this culture now of you can kind of effectively do
Yeah,
whatever
it
you
doesn't.
like.
It doesn't lend itself to it because it's individuals and not teams. Teams you can because it's effectively, let's take football. It's a group of people, and usually a club or whatever on the pitch, and you can kind of get behind them, the badge and the say. So that's where the clash comes from, not the person. And I feel like with golf, it is literally just an individual trying to do his job. And yes, he can be a bit of a dick outside, but it's an individual. So it's weird to hate on one individual out of a field of however many.
Yeah, I
It
get
just
it.
doesn't lend itself very
Yeah,
well.
tribalism in football is
Yes.
understandable. Like I'm Liverpool fan, don't like Man United. They don't like Liverpool, but there's
Yeah.
kind of like that mutual acceptance that that's just the way it is.
Yeah,
It's the other
exactly.
team.
Exactly that.
But you're right. Like they're playing, although like players have teams around them. We've talked about that. It's not tribalism. Just because you like Rory McIlroy doesn't mean you can't like Matt Fitzpatrick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like football teams, but
Well,
it's
I mean, going back to Live, that's why the Live thing just didn't work. The teams didn't work. They tried creating that tribalism and it went nowhere because at the end of the day, it's individuals.
yeah, exactly. And it's not like in football, you can like hate a player, but then he joins your team and it's great. And there's just, it doesn't really, but you don't really have that because there was no teams to begin with. But obviously
Yeah.
there were no teams at all in the US Open. They're just playing another event in a major. And yeah,
I
where
think
is the line?
That's a good example when you talk about, I don't know, football teams, Shanklin going from Hearts to Rangers. Now Rangers fans love him. They never hated Shanklin. They never hated the individual. They just didn't
Yeah.
like the team because they weren't Rangers.
You didn't like that he was banging the goals in for Hearts. Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. But where is like the line? Because obviously we don't want golf to be boring and go to these events and there be no atmosphere. But where would you draw the the line between having a really good atmosphere and okay, that's too far now? Did we kind of see that at the weekend?
No.
I think you can have the best atmosphere in a golf tournament, probably the Masters. And there's nothing of the sort. It's very respectful. There's no phones, rarely anyone shouting. And that creates that. It's one of the best atmospheres in sport. So I think you can have it. I don't think you need that rowdiness to get the atmosphere. It's a different atmosphere, but I don't think you need it.
Yeah, I just think see when you're a good golf tournament, everyone cheers for good golf.
Yeah.
No one cheers for bad golf. That's the difference. Everyone's like everyone wants good golf to become the winner of the tournament. They want people to win the tournament, not people to lose the tournament. And I think that's where the best atmospheres are. It's just because someone's hit a good shot doesn't mean you're not rooting for the other person who's now one shot behind just because that other person's hit a good shot. Do you know what I mean? They're just like rooting for someone
And
to
just
make
golf.
that relationship. Yeah.
Yeah, if you go to the Scottish Open and you don't get groups where there's a massive cheer and the next group no one cheers because they don't like the player. You just cheer for someone holding a putt. You cheer for good golf, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you kind of mentioned it there, Kemp, when I've seen people talk about phones at events. Do you think this event and other Long Island events have maybe put a stain on like using phones at events, or the events you've been to as well? You think actually that's probably better if you just have phones at all and just kind of adopted the Masters approach?
I think it's hard when the Masters has got a tradition, so you know what you sign yourself up for. I think if the Open next year had no phones, I think they'd struggle. I think it's it's built into the culture of the Masters, whereas the Open, in fact, it's really digital. The Open nowadays, it's really there's literally hotspot Wi-Fi everywhere. So you've got to kind of bring in the masses, but you've got to try and limit it because it does take away from the atmosphere. Remember back in the day, you got shouted at for pulling your phone out of the Open and videoing someone up close. You look at the camera now, and people are looking at it through the phone screen. And I know I sound like I'm a boomer, but it is true.
Yeah.
You are a bit, yeah, that's correct.
Do you think it's, I don't think you can get rid of them. It's just kind of a shame. I think you've got the social media culture now where you've people with a few drinks in them and then say something stupid because they think it's funny. And then everybody's recording it. And whereas at the Masters, there's just like, even at the Masters without the phones, there are a few less, like far fewer stupid chants or, yeah, you wouldn't get boos. Even for Wyndham Clark, I don't feel like you get boos.
No, you wouldn't.
Masters.
You definitely wouldn't.
I don't think that's obviously directly linked to mobile phones, but it's just kind of bit of the culture and stuff. But obviously, not many players finished under par the US Open. Rory, arguably the best player of this generation, finished 6 over total. No, he's kind of pushing it because I mean, if Rory finishes, I mean, second or third's great, but he's there to win, isn't he? Like he's gonna push the boat out. But if he's finishing 6 over, what was the winning score? Was it 4, 5 under?
4 under.
4 under. What do you think, Jordan, about obviously we don't want to see birdie fests every week, but was it too hard?
No.
No.
Because I think there was a stat saying that there's only been 6 people finish under par at a US Open at Shinnecock ever, and I think they've hosted it 9 times, and 3 of them were this week. So it's just the US Open. That's all it is. Shinnecock's renowned for being pretty tough. So if it's 1 week in the year, by all means, I like 4 under. I like 4 under being the score.
I agree.
I don't want 4 under to be the score every week because I want guys to play good golf. I'm not saying 4 under is not good golf. It is good golf, but it's not like a birdie fest. Sometimes you like seeing 30 under par win. Sometimes you like seeing 4 under par win. But it doesn't happen every week. So it's just the US Open, isn't
it? I mean, was it Graham McDowell won it 1 over at Pebble Beach?
Something like that.
Yeah. So it's kind of what they're aiming for. I think level par. They want to keep it as close to level par as possible. When I think Wyndham got to 7 under on the Friday night, and they sent an email out saying, "Look, guys, we're going to firm it up," because I think that the whole image of that event is let's try and keep them around level par.
Yeah,
just shows the control of the golf course is actually quite incredible. So
I would say obviously a few amateurs made the cut as well, so it was doable. I mean, it's kind of scary to think. I know these amateurs, like you've got, is it Mason Howell? Who's the young lad? The other guy?
Miles Russell.
Koivan, is that how you pronounce his name?
Nope.
Kuvan?
That's more like it, yeah.
Mr. K.
And the other guy that won the Low-Am?
Yes.
Yeah, I actually forgot his name.
Oh. All right, we can move on then.
But I mean, it shows
his name's Ryder Cowan.
That's it.
Yeah, I mean, it shows it's doable, obviously. But yeah, I don't know how I feel about it. I feel I didn't enjoy watching it as much as I thought I would. But I don't know if that's because of the names. I think if Scotty held that eagle putt on the back 9 on Saturday, that would have shifted the whole weekend, because all of a sudden I think he got to within 3 shots maybe at one stage, and then he dropped another. But I feel like if you've got loads of names up there that you think are going to push on, like Tom Kim came out of nowhere, he's got no form whatsoever, so it was kind of hard to believe that he was going to chase him. Whereas you've got a Scheffler there, you've got a Rory.
Yeah.
Um,
You're right. It's the names. It was, I mean, Scheffler, fair play to him. I'm not gonna lie, he's probably one of the most boring golfers to watch sometimes. And Wyndham was boring to watch. Whereas if you had, I don't know, Bob Mack and Rory going at it, it'd have been absolutely cinema. But it was just they were playing very timidly, and I don't think Scheffler quite got it going. So there just wasn't as many fireworks as we expected.
yeah. What about the Schauffele stat?
Go on.
Is it like the first? He's finished top 15 in all 10 US Opens he's played.
Yeah.
That's insane.
2016 to 2026, he's not finished outside the top 15, 10 in a row.
What about Wyndham's stat? He's played 6 US Opens, won 2, missed a cut in 4.
No, dude.
Shows you.
Yeah.
If you're going to show up, bring your best stuff, and if you're not, just I'll leave it for next week.
Don't show up.
So this is quite a good thing that obviously I've came up with my own and no AI assistance whatsoever. But design your US Open. So
Oh dear.
we'll kind of agree on each.
I wish I'd read this.
What is the ideal winning score?
Oh. Well, we just discussed that. I'd say I'd like to see a 1 under where one person's under par.
No, I would have said one person in double digits and then no one else in double digits.
But then
10, 11, because then you're still playing good golf compared to the course, right? And, that's only like 3 under per round. So it's not like some guys might shoot 6 or 5 or 6 under, right? But like in an individual round, but to be like 10 under for like a tournament like that, yeah, I think
I feel like that's what the Masters do though. That's their identity, 10 to 12 under. Like that's what they kind of usually aim for.
No, I kind of like. I was going to say single fingers. That's a slightly different topic. Single figures under par. So kind of along the same logic as Jordan. Like if you're at the top end of that, it's only 2 or 3 under par per round, which is enough birdies. But for these top guys, if you're not shooting 65 every round, it's still a fair test. And I feel like at that score as well, you could have someone shoot a few 4 unders and then one day shoots over par and still wins, kind of like what Wyndham Clark did, but obviously on 4 under. So you just like to see them struggle, Kempo, clearly.
I love it.
Just more late.
It's usually me.
Yeah.
One of us. Keith Mitchell, by the way, 4 level par rounds. First player ever in US Open history. Pretty cool. Yeah.
Who was this?
Keith Mitchell shot 4 level pars. First player in US Open history. Pretty cool.
Kashmir Keith. He bombs it. Absolutely bombs it.
He just looked, I said to Jordan, you just look at him and just, it sounds obvious, but you know he's a good golfer.
Yeah.
He just, the way he wiggles over the ball, the way he sets up, you just like, if you saw him at the club, you go, this guy's good.
Yeah.
Whereas you see Scheffler swinging on the range, you didn't see where the ball was going, and you just saw a swing, you'd like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
Kashmir Keith, yeah, he's been solid for years. I actually saw him he had a curry at St Andrews and we spoke to him. That was nice. Anyway, on from winning score.
Cormac Keith, you could call him.
Cormac. Fairway width. So how tight should they make the fairways in the US Open?
No idea.
And kind of the same as that, rough height. So in terms of off the tee, how difficult should they make it?
We're not the USGA, but I have to say that the fairways look quite generous this week.
Yeah, but if you miss them, you're in trouble.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't mind.
Yeah, the 18th was quite wide.
I don't mind having tight fairways, but if you're in the rough, you don't have any control over your ball. Do you know what I mean? So if it's like a short course, then, or shorter course than like Shinnecock and stuff, if you've got tight fairways, and there's like a lot of rough, then there's thick stuff, and I think that's pretty cool. Like it was when Bryson won at wherever the hell that was, where Jeff Ogilvy won was it Wingfoot? Remember when he was massive and he bulked up and he just hit driver everywhere into the rough and just had wedges out? I don't mind that. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I guess. Yeah.
I was going to say usually the average fairway is like 40 yards wide or something, maybe a bit more than that. So I would say, I don't mind it being 30 yards if the rough is really penal. And what I would say is people say, I'll just make the fairways narrower and narrower, but then people will just start hitting irons off the tee and it's going to be boring because that's what they'll do. They'll just change their strategy and go, well, if it's 20 yards wide and I'm the best driver in the world, yeah, I might hit more drivers than the next person, but I'm still gonna be hitting irons and
Can
woods
I be
and
honest?
40, and nobody wants to
I'll be
see that.
honest. They actually won't. They will still be a driver because the thing is with professional golfers, they're and what I've noticed, for the past couple of months is boys will still hit driver because they will look at hole width instead of fairway width because they know if they hit a good drive, they're going to hit the fairway. If they hit a bad drive, they're going to hit in the rough, and they just face the consequences, right? So they're not going to purposely lay up with like a 2-iron just to hit it in the fairway, leave themselves 180 when they can hit driver and have 120, possibly still be in the fairway because if they hit a good drive, they're going to be in the fairway, or be in the rough from 120, or be in the fairway from 160. They'd actually rather be in the rough from 120, which
Yeah.
is kind of crazy. So actually, I personally don't think the fairway width actually will stop people from hitting drive or being aggressive because the best drivers in the golf ball could hit every fairway in one round, and then they can hit it within a 20-yard gap. If it's a flat fairway for sure, but I just think, there has to be some sort of penal element to, if you're going to hit driver, like make the thick rough come in a bit more. I don't know, something like that.
Well, there was, wasn't there? I guess that's what happened where they put the priority on hitting the fairway because if you hit it in the semi-rough, that's why the commentators when they were watching the ball roll towards the rough, and if it just went in it, they knew straight away that they were going to have no control. So they put the priority on hitting the fairway so you could keep it on those greens, especially on a Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah. I was going to say, actually, now I'm just thinking about the course setup and our benchmark for what a good US Open course would look like. The PGA actually got it pretty spot on this year, I think. I mean, it didn't look like they were struggling too much. Aaron Rai shot 5 under the last round, 9 under total, and a lot of good players up there that were single figures under par, but still felt like going into that round they had a chance of winning. I know it didn't really pan out that way, but actually looking back on it, PJ was probably fairly well set up, and they've had a lot of criticism for the way they set up courses as well. And then in terms of green speed and firmness, finally, Jordan, can you make greens too firm?
Yeah, you can, but they need to be firm because it's US Open. US Open greens are always firm. It puts a priority on hitting the fairway. So,
What would constitute to it being unfair though? So say you're coming in with like a 7-iron. What's too firm? Or what's just firm but it's still playable?
I don't know what you mean.
Well, on like an average tour course, not a tour course, like say a club course, you hit a 7-iron, it might roll out 10 feet when it hits the green. If you're hitting a 7-iron into a US Open course and it's rolling out 40 feet, 50 feet, and you've still hit the right spot, surely that's way too firm. So at what point?
Oh, like Pinehurst when Martin Keimer played, when he won at Pinehurst. That's the only thing that came to my mind. Those greens were firm as they can be, and that's what I think it needs to be. Firm. And I would take slightly slower greens and firmer greens than softer greens and quicker greens. I think that would be fun. Because
100%.
then with slower greens, the ball doesn't roll out as much, but you still got to judge that first bounce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it just puts a premium on iron play, doesn't it? When you have to land it in a certain zone, whereas when you can kind of get away with it with your approach and still have a decent putt for it, then yeah, just takes away from your iron game, I suppose. Anyway, moving into our own golf, and Jordan, yesterday you had a pretty good day.
I had a great day. I was at regional open qualifying at Craigie Law for the second time. I teed off at 11:36. I qualified on 6 under par via a playoff. So the scoring was obviously really good. There was hardly any wins. It was playing pretty easy. The greens are really firm, not US Open firm, but it was pretty scoreable. I was bogey free. That was pretty cool. That's always good fun. I'll tell you boys, it is good fun.
I've had a bogey free round
this year.
No,
I don't think I've ever had
this
a bogey
decade.
free round, mate.
I've had 18 straight pars in competition.
Have you?
Yep.
Okay. Anyway. Yeah, so I was pretty slow off the blocks. I could have birdied every hole on the front 9, but I grazed the edge on the first 6, then birdied 7, 8, and 9, which was pretty cool. And then I parred the next 6 on the back 9, So I was 3 under with 3 to play, and I hold a 40-footer on 16. I chipped in from 25 yards on 17 and tapped in for my birdie 4 on the last. So I finished with 3 in a row to shoot 6 and get into a playoff. And I subsequently birdied the first playoff hole to get through again.
I think that's the most impressive thing to me, because you handed that card in at what, 4 o'clock, whatever it was.
Yeah, 4
Playoff
o'clock.
was 7-ish.
15 groups left to come in.
Yeah, and I can't believe you were told to hang around at 6 under, but that's just the nature of.
Yeah, I mean, when we need to speak about, like, that is incredible that 6 under you weren't like, well, I've qualified after. Imagine shooting 6 under and not qualifying like just straight away. It's just, that's crazy to think. But
I know.
we need to talk about the scoring, Jordan, because obviously you let us know. I wasn't even updated yet. You let us know what you'd shot, but there's no live scoring on the golf course. So how does that? How did you know in your mind 4 under? Like, you definitely knew 3 under probably wasn't going to be enough. Did you know coming off the course that 6 under would still be tight? Because I mean, Craig Howe went out, shot 10 under, but he was 7 under 310. But nobody knew that unless you like spoke to someone in the group.
Yeah, unless you're following him. Yeah, live score. No, live scoring is rubbish, because essentially what it didn't help guys that were on 5. And if they saw Craig was 7 under through 10, they'd have just gone home.
Yeah.
So you are waiting around, not knowing what people have scored. But yeah, the scoring was unbelievable. I mean, the course was pretty easy. The conditions were very easy. So it's to be expected. But I didn't actually look at the leaderboard the whole day, when I've been telling everyone for the past 3 years to look at leaderboards when you're playing. But I actually forgot there was a leaderboard on my phone. So I was like 5 under from the last, thinking, yeah, I'll take par here. So I smashed it way right into the rough, laid up just short of the green, chipped it to a foot and held my birdie putt. Got in at 6, and I thought, perfect, 6. This is great. We're for it.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming. And then I went up to the scorer's hut, and I was like looking at, like, because they write it all down, and I was looking at thinking, and there was like the 64 column with 2 names. I was like,
sorry,
I've just shot 65. Oh, right. 2 64s are in. I was like, oh my god, because I thought I could lead on a 6 under, to be fair. And then I was looking over to the 65 column. I seen 2 65s. I was like, oh. And then I turned to the guy and I said, how many places are available this week? And he goes, 5. I was like, oh, what? Excuse me. I was 5th at the time. But then I walked down to the actual scoreboard, and it said 7. So, at the time I was like, right, well, there can be 2 more people that can be 6 under or better, and I'd still be fine not to play a playoff. And then Craig, and then one person came in, Aiden came in, shot 65. So then it was down to 1. And then Craig came in, third last group, shot 61, 10 under with a bogey.
Course record. Yeah.
With a bogey. And then some guy in the second to last group shot 65 as well. So good thing I hang around. But yeah, it's actually probably the worst part of the year, having to wait around and wait for people to come in, not knowing what their scores are on the course, and just praying that you don't want anyone to play bad, right? But you kind of do. So he's just coming in, just like watching the leaderboard, watching the whole way around, and just waiting for group after group after group, and it is awful, to say the least. But luckily, I only went 1 over, so then there was like 5 guys for 4 spots. So, and usually everyone that's in a playoff is going to get a final queue spot, because they get in as like an alternate. So the guy that didn't get through in our playoff, he's like second alternate, so he'll get in at some final queue. You might not get your first preference, but he'll get in somewhere. So
nice. So he goes to the playoff, he knew he was getting in. That's good.
Yeah, everyone was almost playing the playoff. Everyone that knows how it all works or has done it before kind of knows that everyone that's playing the playoff is probably going to get in, unless it's a ridiculous number like it was at GOG where it was 10 players for 1 spot.
Yeah, 10 players for 1 spot. 10 at GOG. There was another place, I think it was the Island, that was 8 players for 1 spot.
Yeah, so unless it's like that, then you kind of, and if there's a lot of players for a lot of spots, then you kind of know that you're going to get in. So it was fine. It was quite actually calming down a little bit. I did hit a very bad drive, but a very good recovery shot and a good putt. So
yeah, was it a par 4 first.
Yeah, par 4, drivable.
Yeah,
nice.
Is it drivable? You had a lot further than me, to be fair, but it's
drivable for a professional golfer.
Yeah, it's no, it's a great course. I think it's no, it is. Yeah, it's definitely drivable. I was thinking about the wrong course there, but it's well protected, that green though. You were in. Yeah, were you in the same bunker this year as last year off the tee?
There's actually a hazard which is about 60 yards left of the green. When I was about 5 yards inside that, so Yeah, managed to play a bit of a miraculous flop shot from the munch to about 12 feet and just tapped it down the hill and it went in the hole.
Yeah,
So
and you're saying obviously you don't want people to play badly. You just want them to shoot 5 under or worse. That's
Yeah.
yep, that's exactly what it is. You can shoot 5 under. A great score. Well played.
unbelievable. Great score. Yeah,
Yeah,
I get cut for that.
I'd be up for that.
Were there any like uh-oh moments during the day, or was it pretty
Oh yeah.
stressful?
So I
Stress-free,
was,
sorry.
I was friend through, yeah, friend through 10. I thought, okay, right, I'm cruising now. I'll be happy. 300's pretty good. If I can get, if I, my goal was to get to 5. So then obviously playing 11 as par 5. So I'm like, right, this is great. Winds off the right, OB down the left. Brilliant, great start. I sliced it into a bunker, hacked out, hit it on the green 2 putt for par. So I was like, okay, right, it's still a par. It's not the end of the world. Then the 12 came along, hit 2 iron, and the flag was like middle left. There's like a massive slope behind the flag, and then it drops off into like this rough stuff. So I proceeded to have 185 and proceeded to pull my 7 iron straight behind the slope, quite possibly the worst position on the golf course for the day, judging where the flag was. And obviously I chipped it 30 feet by, and then I pulled the putt for
What?
So I was like, okay,
Okay.
right. Well, I was like, well, it's my day. Like, it's my
Yeah,
day.
that's pretty special.
I parred up until the 16th, hold a 40 foot for birdie. Got to 4 under, and then
I think that's more. I think that's more than he puts in a hell all year.
and then hit a really bad 8 iron on 17. Basically shanked it, but didn't shank it, and just left the face open. So missed the green. Hit my chip. Took a really bad bounce, and I was like, oh my god, that's such a bad bounce. Not as polite as that. And then it rolled and rolled and rolled and rolled and rolled and actually went in the hole. So I was fuming at my chip that went in the hole. So that was good fun. So yeah, I mean, it was just my day. I think I hold 3 putts outside 30 feet and chipped in. So, to be fair, when it's an 18-hole shootout like that,
Yeah,
it's either your day or it's not.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was going to be my day after 6 holes, but I stiffed it on 7, hold a 35 foot or an 8, and 2 putted for my birdie on 9. So, suddenly you've gone from level par to 3 under through 9, and you think, right, okay, actually, this could be my day now. I've got a nice par. I've got a couple par 5s coming in. I've got a couple, drivable-ish par 4, which I proceeded not to birdie, which is always good, and hold a 30 foot for par. So, it's just one of those days where you are just praying that your putt is hot and it just all falls into place. So, but you make your own luck, don't you? Do you know what I mean? I'm not trying to miss. I'm trying to hold the putts. So
yeah.
Happy days. Well done. Well, that's 2 years in a row. Finally qualifying now at Dundonald.
Dundonald on Tuesday.
Also, should mention a couple others actually. So Rob's younger brother, Patrick, made it through at the island in Ireland, which is very impressive. Our friend Jack Cope that we've had in the podcast got through at Minchinhampton.
Yeah.
He knows very well. Who else do we know? Jack Brune got through at Barassi.
Yeah.
Did he?
Do you know that?
Wow.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
Yeah, so
Nice.
he got through. And who else? Well, Wesley Bryan,
Yeah.
he
That's
got through.
class.
And we'll just include him in our friend group there.
Yeah.
Wesley Bryan.
George Bryan.
George Bryan?
George Bryan. Wesley's through to final.
Oh, straight to the final. Oh, sorry, I always get them mixed up. But George Bryan, that's pretty good. And Robert Rock actually qualified, top qualifier at I think he was top qualifier, but he definitely got through the regionals as well. So plenty of names to look out for next week. And there's quite a big one playing at Dundonald, actually, Jordan, you mentioned.
Yeah.
Yes, for Sandborg.
10 past 70 time Jordan Sandborg, I think. There's a few big names. Dustin Johnson, I think, is his name. Carlos Ortiz, Guido Migliozzi, Robert Brock's group behind me. Cammy Adams playing, so that'll be good to see him.
Yeah.
A few other big name guys are playing. There's loads of big names playing out at St. Port's as well, and Burnham and Barrow. So, going to have to be on top form for 2 rounds this year, not just one.
Yeah, absolutely. So, best of luck. We'll probably not do a podcast next Tuesday night because you'll have played 36 holes and hopefully be celebrating.
Yeah.
Lots of great.
But I suppose we've all played decent golf recently, actually. So I was going to just finish by saying asking what have we learned recently? Maybe in the past few weeks, we've been playing a lot. Yeah.
Why don't you
Maybe
give
pressure moments as well.
yeah, why don't you give a brief overview of your club champ week?
Yeah. Well, Campo, you lead because you led. There you go.
Yeah, no, Saturday. So club championship week. So it's 36 on the Sunday to qualify for the match play in the week, and then it's how many rounds? 4 rounds.
So it's round of 16, then quarters, semis, finals. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a long week. Well, it is if you play well. And the 36-hole qualifier, I won, which is a bunch trophy. Won it at Wando, which was quite good because it wasn't playing easy.
US Open.
Yeah, no, I played quite well. It was solid enough. And then you get seeded, and I probably drew the only person you really don't want to play in the first round. So the seed didn't really help, which is John Fraser, who is the guy I've discussed before. He's an older chap, but insanely good at golf. And I played really well against John, beat John in the first round, but I got knocked out in the second round against quite a hot Greg Nicholson. So
We eventually got
my
to the
week was.
final, by the way. So
He did. He got to the final. Yeah, and it's. Shall I go into what I learned from that week? From.
yeah.
Or are you gonna?
Well, I'll say as well, like what happens. I finished, I can't remember, like seventh or something. I didn't play very well. I was doing actually okay for the first round and then just won one essentially out of bounds. It wasn't out of bounds, but it might as well have been out of bounds on 15. And then just kind of played two below average rounds, which, to be fair, what I have learned is when we're playing like tournaments and stuff, obviously this wasn't a tournament, it was the club champ, but when you play bigger events, your expectations get really high. But actually, when these qualifiers and at the club championship as well, you just have to like not panic because there's good players who missed out in the qualifier, and it's quite easy if you just hit one bad shot to go, oh, what is it to qualify? What's the qualifying score? And you just kind of have to keep doing what you're doing. So that's kind of the first thing I learned was, even though I was disappointed with the shooting like 2 over 3 over 3 or 4 or whatever it was, I like comfortably qualified, which is the main thing at the end of the day. Unless you're going to win like you did, you need to qualify. So yeah, I got through to the knockout stage. I played, unfortunately, Malcolm, who is been playing a lot of county stuff recently, and I was one up for a lot of the match. Missed quite a few opportunities to get him to get to two up, didn't, and then ended up losing down the last, which was a sore one. But it was a top quality game, so took positives from that, I suppose, and then went out and supported everybody, I suppose, during the week. But yes, that was a long week. Not as long for other people. It was longer for other people than it was for us, but so that concluded on Sunday, and Callum Robinson won, new member at Burgess. He's also, his girlfriend is my girlfriend's sister, weird connection, and he also went to Stirling Uni, so
You in an alternate universe, just a better golfer.
That's it. So but yeah, what did you learn, I suppose, Campbell, during that week?
I think so. Then obviously, and then on that weekend, because we didn't make the final, we played in the Tennant Cup, which is one of Scotland's oldest, or is it the world's oldest amateur event, over 72 holes?
Yeah, over 72 holes, I think. Yeah,
and it's quite a big event. And what I found out was that because I played so much golf and not practiced, I was terrible. And what I learned was, personally, I knew exactly what I was doing. But when you play a lot of golf, the ball position goes back, the weight goes forward, you start spinning it, you start hitting it right, open face, just trying to, because I was focusing on trying to strike the ball. Because I didn't have time to go back to the range in the week and reset and get the alignment sticks down and get the basics right before I played in the event, I found out how important that is. And thinking back to what I was trying to do, because I was hitting it right, I ended up moving the ball position further back in my stance and leaning on it more. And I hit on the train tracks a couple of times. So yeah, so I've learned that it's really important to just, if you're playing a lot, just find time to get the basics sorted, even if it's like a 15 minutes on the putting green, to get the alignment sticks down, start the ball on line, see if you can actually perceive what a straight putt is, which I realised I wasn't doing, stuff like that. So yeah, that's
no, I think it is easy to get into bad habits. People go, you're playing a lot of golf, and it's weird. I feel like you can feel sharp as in your scoring still okay. Like, for example, if you were hitting the ball, you said you were struggling with your ball striking. Imagine you're struggling with your ball striking and it was like January, February, you would have scored a lot worse, but you can still feel sharp, but not be swinging it good. But it's to have that like reset day or 1 hour, whatever it is, whether it's your putting or alignment. Yeah, I've definitely learned that lesson over the years as well. You just start playing, then you don't look at your swing for a few weeks, then you look
Yeah.
at it. So then you have one bad round, then look at your swing, and go, oh,
Well,
I maybe
what
made
it
my
was,
right.
honestly, Ethan, your video on the practice area before we went out, it was every single swing fault that I've spent the last year trying to get rid of in one swing. Just because when you're playing a lot, your body reverts back to what it's comfortable with, and especially in a big event, it felt comfortable on the day. And I know it was bad because I tried doing the swing changes I made on the range this week, and my arm is sore from doing it. So I obviously wasn't doing it. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's important.
Yeah. I think I learned that. So I decided not to play. I think I played 6 holes between losing on the Tuesday night and then playing on the Saturday. And I just kind of between gym and playing golf, I was like, I just need a few days to do nothing. So that's what I did. And not to say I was going Tennant Cup with low expectations. I suppose what helped as well is Tennant Cup first 36 is on Glasgow Gales. This is the third tournament in 7 weeks or something I've played there. So I already know the course, kind of know where to hit it on the greens. The pin positions are probably going to be similar to what they were at the Scottish Stroke Play 3 weeks ago and the Edward as well. So I felt quite confident. Almost feels like a home course. Like you look at my handicap record and I think, well, how many events? It's like 8 out of my last 20 scores are at Glasgow Gales. So, yeah, played there and then yeah, just kind of again similar to what you were saying about putting. I just on the putting green just had the feeling of right, do I know how to start the ball in line? Yes, just see a few of them go in, and then all of a sudden my confidence in the greens was a lot better. And it sounds really obvious, but I feel like when you're playing, show up to a golf course after work, don't go and putt, and then you go on and play, and you might hole a few putts, but it doesn't mean you're necessarily set up correctly.
Agreed. Yeah.
And something that Rob said a few months ago on the podcast, which is like for the sake of 5 or 10 minutes, how much more enjoyable would golf be if you were starting the ball in line on the greens?
Yeah, I mean that's just doing drills before you go out. I always do drills. I do start line drills with teams and stuff before I go out and actually play a competition round just to make sure that I'm starting the ball where I want to start the ball.
Yeah.
It might not be straight from behind the line. But if I know where I'm starting the ball, then that's all I need to know for the next 5 hours.
Right, it's playing with what you got on the day rather than trying to change up the course, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I've changed putting grip on the midway through. I was cat-handed still, but I went double thumb down. I went kind of because I just was really struggling and my stance was open and everything was starting left and I was missing everything low and yeah, I was wishing I just for 20 minutes could go on the putting green and reset.
Yeah, I actually changed my putting grip all of the weekend. Not only changed it once, as in I was doing cat-handed for about 4 weeks, maybe more than that. And then I found when I was under pressure, we're talking about like being under pressure as well. If I was under pressure, I had like a 2 or 3 footer and I didn't feel right setting up left hand low, I would just go back to conventional because it just felt like you just think of I've tapped in millions of putts from this range over the years from this grip.
I know John's laughing but Scheffler did it at the US Open. He went from claw to conventional.
He does. He does that all the time.
Yeah, no, so did Ethan. So, there you go.
I was kind of hovering between it when it was cat-handed. I was doing it everything inside 10 feet. If I had like quite a long putt, sometimes I would just kind of make a judgment call, do I want to go conventional or not? Because I feel like you need a bit more feel for those longer putts, especially the big breakers. But then it just got the stage where it was like, actually, I've worked so hard doing left hand low that my conventional is better now because I've been leading with my left hand. So now I feel more comfortable doing it.
I also think golf's funny, like you where as soon as I changed up, I started holding putts. And golf's a funny thing where because you've got a fresh perspective. And if you go right below left, it probably would work in the short term. But I think, as long as you need to have something consistent.
Yeah. I've also learned the importance of birdies. Put it that way.
Yes.
So the first
round, they do help, actually, yeah.
First round at Gales, I shot 2 over, 2 bogeys, 16 pars. Not a birdie on the card. Next round, I made 2 birdies. One doesn't really count because the fourth turns into a par 5 on the card, but it is, I was playing long, probably like 210 or 220 or second shots. It's still playing long, but
I birdied it twice and they were my only birdies, so I will take it as a par 5. Thank you very much.
Yeah. And I birdied one other hole. So first 2 rounds, first day, make 2 birdies total. Second round, and then I made the cut by a couple, which was nice because I didn't know what it was going to be. I ended up being 5 over total, cut was 7. And then the next day got off to a really good start at Killerman, so it's a different golf course. Made 10 birdies between the 2 rounds. Um, the bad news was it was only for 1 under total.
Not quite
10
quite
birdies
Craig
for
Howie
1 under. But the reason is like the importance of birdies was that when I put myself in a position from 15 feet to make a birdie, I always had a chance of going in. Whereas sometimes early on in tournaments, I can even be a bit defensive from 15 feet. And then ultimately, an amateur golfer, you're going to make bogeys. Whereas like I would make birdies, then I'd make bogeys, but then I wouldn't care because then you'd make birdies again. Whereas if you're just kind of hitting it to 30 feet every time and then you miss the green, then you make a bogey, then it's kind of hard to chase those birdies and it's easy to shoot like a 2 or 3 over. So I just learned that, yeah, birdies are
You've just learned that
important.
birdie's helping golf.
I just realized how much more they help, yeah, with your confidence and everything, instead of just having like a tidy round of golf. So, but yeah, Jordan, what have you learned the past few weeks? Because you've got to put a few good scores together.
I am playing aggressive, and if it doesn't work, move on to the next week. Simple as that. Because with professional golf, you have competitions a lot more than the big amateur stuff. So yeah, if you are swinging it well, play aggressive. If you're not, play aggressive and just hope it goes near the hole. Because trust your short game that if you do miss a short side, you make a run down, whatever. Just play aggressively smart, or just because boys are shooting some ridiculous scores as you see in a regional qualifying, right? But the boys that qualified all were probably going for it, or trying to make birdies instead of hitting it middle of the green or hitting it to the safe side of the green or whatever. And it's just a case of how many birdies can you make.
Mhm.
It's literally going out there, and the professionals are thinking on every tee, how can I birdie this hole? That's all they're thinking. What shots do I need to hit to birdie the hole? Not this is a tough hole that's 490 yards. They're thinking, okay, if I can get my drive away, perfect. That puts me in position. I then have a 6 sign. Okay, how can I tap the flag? Do I need to hit it high? Do I need to hit it low? Do I need to fade it? Do I need to draw it? It's just a case of how can I get this ball to the position where I've got a good chance at birdie, whether it's with a 2 iron or whether it's with a wedge.
They're just taking their toolkit to the golf course and trying to get it to that, and rather than letting emotions take over.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
I think I was going to finish on one or maybe two, whatever we have. We've all felt under pressure in some capacity, whether it's like a bogey, like you've got a 6 footer for bogey, or you've got I don't know, like you're under pressure, Jordan, because you knew that 3 or 4 under is not going to make it.
What
So
about a train track right when you're hitting a slice of a tee?
yeah, maybe don't share that.
Or
But maybe under pressure, what you've been going to the past few weeks could be like a shot shape, could be like a mental trick. What kind of tip can you share that you've done the past few weeks? Well,
I haven't
you
found
made the
mine
club
yet.
championship, so and you beat a lot of good golfers to be fair.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Um,
could be technical, could be mental, could be strategy. What I will say, I think something that I've lent on this weekend was a hold-up shot. It's something that I've been kind of scared to hit for a while on the golf course because I come a bit into out. Sorry, yeah, into out with my club path, with my irons. So it's easy under pressure for me to hit draws. But when I'm in between yardages, it's quite fiddly because if I start hitting 3/4 draws, I lose control of it because then my arms take over and it's not great. So I learned like under pressure. No one was around the cut line. Thankfully made it fairly easily in the end, but I just had you had 4 or 5 irons into these greens and I was just if it was in between a club, I would just take one club more and hit a hold up shot to the middle of the green. And then it was a fairly stress-free par. So I kind of learned to lean on because I can do it on the range. I just never brought the golf course, and I just like Ethan, you can hit a shot, so just started hitting those hold up shots a bit more. And then I would say the one thing with the short game is if in doubt, just go toe down with a wedge.
yeah, that is a good one, by the way. I've been doing that a lot. John, you laugh. I've been doing that so much, and it's great.
I gave you a 5-minute chipping lesson the other day.
And it was unbelievable. Yeah, you did actually. Yeah.
What about you, Kevin? Is that one of yours?
No, I think what I've shot on the bar a few times recently, and I think all that's changed was just again obvious. It's so obvious, but picking a lot better targets. And that's why I shot under par, is because I had less bogeys. I had my usual 3 or 4 birdies around, just had less bogeys because I was picking better targets. But another thing which helped me was I really went into more detail with how I was lining the ball up. So I started seeing that my line was actually not straight, but I only saw that on the putting green when I actually really looked at it.
I think it was actually really that solid for you.
I think it actually was. And what I perceived was actually straight was actually missing the hole to the right. So then I then started working on what actually looked like a straight putt. I was kind of just using an alignment stick to a hole, setting up to a putt and actually seeing where the alignment stick went, and it was actually going right. So I changed my setup and took a bit more time over short putts, and I've been holding out so much better. And I think that's saving a couple of shots around.
Nice. Jordan?
Nice. Being able to shape the ball both ways to attack the flags. Simple as that. Because being one-dimensional is great, but if you can be two-dimensional, that's even better, I think, because you've then got the tools in your kit to be a bit more comfortable than, like, for example, if you're a drawer of the golf ball and predominant drawer of the golf ball and the flag's on the right, then you're almost having to flirt with danger to actually hit a good shot. So that the risk is therefore higher than if you can aim it at the green and know that you're just going to peel one, which is always going towards the flag. So yeah, I think for me, being able to attack the flags, but making sure you're attacking the flags with the right shot.
Good point.
Yeah.
People can just be like, oh, I'm going to hit a draw into this right flag. Well, technically, probably not the safest shot to hit. You might pull it off and feel great about yourself, but why don't we just lower the risk and develop a fade where you can hit in the middle of the green? If you hit it straight, then great. If you don't hit it straight, then it's next level.
I think it was it Dean or John Mathis in a psychology session? He said you've got to think about how the green wants to receive the ball. Start there rather than starting at the hole. If it's a tucked back left pin and the green kind of slopes right to left, you don't want to be fading into that hole.
Yeah, that's exactly what I would
break
do.
the glass.
Like the 16th at Glasgow Gales. It's such a tough hole.
Yeah, I know that well.
It's such a tough hole.
Oh, par 4.
Train tracks all down the right.
With
There's
the
a bunker
railway
at 265 and 280 on left center of the fairway. So essentially, you have to kind of aim this between the train tracks and the bunkers. Those bunkers will just take your ball. I know you can whack it way left, but the rough was up. But they put the pin down on the right, and the wind was off the right. So for me, say 3 months ago or a couple of months ago playing the Edward, I'd have to start it on like the left side of the train tracks and bring it back to unless I'm playing way away from the pin, which is probably what I would have done. I would have started in the pin and then played away from it. Whereas I'm now having the two-way not completely mastered, but I can at least I can aim at the middle of the green and know that I'm not going to overdo it. And if I do overdo it slightly, it's just going to go closer to the hole. Whereas before it was like a draw, but if the draw stays straight, I'm in trouble. But Jordan, in terms of being under pressure though, do you feel like going for a two-way shot shape is easier to do under pressure, or what's the kind of a pressure thought or piece of technique you've adopted?
Just picking small targets, really small targets. Aim small, miss small. Simple as that. If you start thinking, I want to hit this on the middle, I want to hit this on the green, well, a bad shot's missing the green. If you go, okay, I want to aim this, picking a tree in the distance that's right edge of the green, or right center of the green, and then overdrawing it to the left center of the green, brilliant. Your miss is now hit the green. Well done.
Yeah, it's the hardest thing to do, isn't it? Someone's play like mid handicappers in like a club match or whatever, and I remember me and Campbell played against guys last year, and they were using their shots quite well, and one of them just said to the other one, "Oh, just hit it on the green," and then of course he missed the green because it just means like, yeah, you're not aiming for anything. It's the hardest thing to do. Someone says, "Oh, just hit the green." It's the hardest thing to do. So
100%.
But yeah, so yeah, I think we've done bang on an hour there. So next week, hopefully, we'll have a open qualifying debrief. Plenty of stories, positive stories only. If you don't hear from us for 2 weeks, you might know why. Not a joke.
Celebrating or in despair, who knows?
Yeah,
podcast
in Vegas
championship.
So
we'll get DJ on.
Yeah,
get DJ on. Yeah. So yeah, follow us on Spotify and YouTube and on the socials as well. Try and get some clips out this week. And yep, we'll see you next week.
Cheers, guys.